Before starting the story, let us know where you're watching from and what time you're watching. The thing in the mirror isn't me as bad. The first time I noticed something was wrong, I was brushing my teeth. It was a mundane Tuesday evening, the kind of day that blurs into the next without leaving a mark. The bathroom was quiet, save for the hum of the exhaust fan and the rhythmic scrubbing of my toothbrush. I spat into the sink, rinsed my mouth, and glanced up at the mirror. That's when I saw it. My reflection didn't move when I did. It stood frozen, toothbrush hovering midair, staring at me with an expression I couldn't quite place. Not anger, not fear, something colder, emptier. My heart skipped a beat, and I blinked hard, convinced it was a trick of the light or my tired mind playing games. When I opened my eyes, the reflection was normal again, mimicking my every move as it always had. I laughed nervously, shaking my head. "Get it together, Claire," I muttered to myself, turning off the faucet and leaving the bathroom. But the image lingered in my mind, a seed of unease planted deep in my gut. The next few days passed without incident. I told myself it was nothing, a fleeting glitch, a moment of dissociation. But then it happened again. This time, I was getting ready for work. I leaned closer to the mirror to apply mascara, and there it was, my reflection, lagging just a fraction of a second behind. I froze, my hand trembling as I lowered the mascara wand. The reflection didn't. It continued the motion, dragging the wand across its eyelashes in a slow, deliberate stroke. "What the hell?" I whispered, my voice barely audible. The reflection smiled. It wasn't my smile. My smile is warm, genuine. This was something else, a grotesque imitation, too wide, too sharp, filled with teeth that seemed just a little too white, a little too pointed. I stumbled back, my breath coming in short, panicked gasps. The reflection stayed where it was, tilting its head as if studying me. Then, in a voice that was almost mine, but not quite, it spoke. "You should have noticed by now." I bolted from the bathroom, slamming the door shut behind me. My heart pounded in my chest as I leaned against the wall, trying to steady my breathing. "This isn't real," I whispered. "This can't be real." But it was. Over the next week, the thing in the mirror became bolder. It no longer waited for me to look. It would appear on its own, staring at me from the reflective surfaces around my apartment. The microwave door, the TV screen, even the glossy surface of my phone when it went dark. Every time, it wore that same twisted smile, those same hollow eyes. I stopped sleeping. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw its face, heard its voice echoing in my mind. "You should have noticed by now." Noticed what? What was I missing? I began to avoid mirrors altogether, covering them with sheets or turning them face down. But it didn't matter. The thing always found a way to reach me. One night, exhausted and desperate, I decided to confront it. I stood in front of the bathroom mirror, my hands shaking as I pulled the sheet away. The reflection stared back at me, its expression unreadable. "What do you want?" I demanded, my voice trembling. The thing tilted its head, its smile widening. "I want what's mine." "What's yours?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. The reflection stepped closer, its face pressing against the glass. "You." I stumbled back, my legs giving out as I collapsed to the floor. The thing laughed, a sound that was both familiar and alien, like a distorted recording of my own voice. The days blurred together after that. I stopped going to work, stopped answering calls from friends and family. I couldn't explain what was happening, couldn't risk them thinking I was losing my mind. But the truth was, I wasn't sure I wasn't. The thing in the mirror grew more aggressive. It no longer waited for me to look. It would appear on its own, its face filling every reflective surface, its voice echoing through the apartment. "You're running out of time," it would say. "You should have noticed by now." Notice what? What was I missing? One night, as I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. It hit me. The thing in the mirror wasn't a separate entity. It was me. Or rather, it was the part of me I had buried deep inside, the part I had tried to forget. Memories flooded back, memories I had suppressed for years. The accident, the car swerving off the road, the sound of shattering glass, the screams, my screams. I had survived, but at a cost. The person I was before the accident, the person who laughed easily, who loved without fear, who believed in the goodness of the world, had died that night. And in her place was this hollow shell, this thing that wore her face but wasn't her. The thing in the mirror wasn't a monster. It was me. I stood in front of the mirror one last time, my reflection staring back at me with that same twisted smile. "You finally understand," it said. I nodded, tears streaming down my face. "Am sorry," I whispered. "Am so sorry." The reflection reached out, its hand pressing against the glass. "It's time." I took a deep breath and placed my hand against the mirror. The glass was cold, but beneath it, I could feel something, a pulse, a heartbeat. The barrier between us began to dissolve, the surface rippling like water. And then, with a final, shuddering breath, I stepped through. When I opened my eyes, I was standing in a world that was both familiar and strange. The apartment was the same, but everything was reversed, as if I were looking at it through a mirror. The thing, the other me, stood beside me, its expression no longer twisted, but soft, sad. "Welcome home," it said. I looked down at my hands, at the faint scars that crisscrossed my skin, scars I had carried for years, but never truly seen. And for the first time in a long time, I felt whole. The thing in the mirror wasn't me, but now it is.